Hi, my name's Tristan, and I'm the host of the Gravel Cycling Australia podcast. I was born, raised, and continue to live, work, and ride my bike on the lands of the Wurundjeri and the Wadawurrung people. I acknowledge the Wurundjeri people as the traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. The Gravel Cycling Australia podcast acknowledges that Aboriginal sovereignty has never been ceded. It always was and always will be Aboriginal land.
This is the sort of bike I've been looking for a long time, like a bike that can do this mixed terrain riding, feel fast, feel agile, give you that road bike experience, it'll allow you to tackle a little bit of everything. And I've been on a journey to find this bike, and I think this is the one.
Welcome to the Gravel Cycling Australia podcast. Gravel cycling in Australia is booming. From racing to bikepacking to simply getting off the beaten track and exploring the back roads and trails of our outstanding natural landscapes. This accessible subculture is all about community, adventure, and discovering or rediscovering the joy of life on two wheels. Join us as we celebrate Australia's gravel cycling scene and discover the locations, explore the events, and meet the people at the heart of the sport. Welcome back to what is a very special episode of the Gravel Cycling Australia podcast. I'm really excited today to bring you my thoughts on the brand new Superior X-Road Team Comp Gravel, which is a brand new bike from Bikes Online. So last week I mentioned that I was partnering up with Bikes Online, and as part of that arrangement, they've sent me this bike for review, and I've been really excited to be able to ride this bike. I took it up to the Beechworth Granite Classic and rode it around the 90-kilometre course up there, and then I've been riding it in and around Melbourne since. So this is a really exciting bike and one that I particularly enjoy, which I think you'll get a sense for in my review today. So I'll save a bit of a roundup of the Beechworth Granite Classic for next time, but I just wanted to say thanks again to Bridge Road Brewers for having us up, and I had a really great weekend and met some really great people up there. So really excited to also bring you some coverage from that event in the next episode. So Bikes Online are an online retailer, and they provide some really great brands such as POC, 100%, SRAM, Laser, but they're probably best known for their bikes. So they sell a great range of Polygon bikes, both mountain bike and road, and also some gravel bikes in the Polygon Bend and the Polygon Tambora. And they've just added this line of Superior bikes to their offering. So I'll talk a bit about Superior in my review, but these are some pretty cool looking bikes and really, really great value offerings as well. So if you're looking for some new gear or a new bike, log on to Bikes Online. They have a 5% price beat guarantee, so you know you're going to get the best price available. Free 30-day returns on bikes, so if you're concerned about buying online, then you can do so with peace of mind. And they offer free shipping for orders over $79. So log on, check them out. So I am preparing a YouTube video review of this bike, so if you're keen to see the bike in person, then head over to our YouTube channel. I'll pop a link in the description down there. Head over there and subscribe so you don't miss the video, which should be out in the next week or so. This podcast is sort of an extended cut of that video. The video itself will be a bit shorter, but if you're keen for all the details, then listen through here and then follow up with the video when it's available, probably in the next week or so. And just finally, whilst Bikes Online did send me this bike for review, the opinions that I present here are my own, and I haven't been sort of influenced by that at all. I genuinely do think this is a really good bike. If you would like to check out the bike or even make a purchase, you can pop down to those links in the description. They are affiliate links, so if you do click on the link and check out the bike, or even end up buying something from Bikes Online within 30 days of clicking that link, you will be supporting the channel. And with that, let's get to my review of the Superior X-Road Team Comp Gravel.
Welcome to the Gravel Cycling Australia podcast, and welcome to sunny Beechworth. What a beautiful place to come and visit. We've been up here on behalf of Beechworth Brewers for the amazing Beechworth Granite Classic event, one of Australia's premier gravel cycling events. And that was held yesterday. It's now Sunday afternoon, and we're all pulling up and recovering from what was an absolutely stunning day out on the gravel of around the Beechworth area. And if you haven't been up here, or if you're in Australia and you're looking for a great gravel cycling event, then I can't recommend this one highly enough. Now, yesterday I rode this stunning bike. It's a Superior X-Road Comp Gravel. It's a new bike in the lineup from Bikes Online. So you're probably familiar with Bikes Online as a importer and distributor of the very well-renowned Polygon mountain bikes. And they've just added this new line of Superior bikes to their offering. So yeah, they were kind enough to send me this Superior Comp Gravel bike. And yeah, I've been putting it through its paces out here at the Beechworth Granite Classic. So this is a really interesting bike and one that's very topical, I think, for modern day gravel cycling. This is a bike that shares its frame with the Superior X-Road endurance road bike. So this is really an all-road bike. It's got endurance road geometry and it really provides that snappy road bike-like feel. But at the same time, you can fit a 40mm tyre in here. So you're really getting a really decent gravel tyre on what is a really snappy, fast-feeling endurance road bike effectively. So yeah, it really offers that road bike-like experience with a little bit more capability for gravel. One of the really exciting things about this bike is it comes at a time when, Envy have just released their new Frey, BMC have released a new road machine, and then last year we saw Giant release the Defy and Specialized release the SL8 Roubaix. So all of those endurance road bikes are moving towards a wider, thicker tyre. But I think, this is a bike that offers all of that capability. You get that snappy endurance road bike feel, but the real draw card of this bike is its value. So this is a hugely valuable bike. They're retailing this for $3,499.
Okay, I have to stop myself there because I've just jumped on the Bikes Online website, and whilst $3,499 is the retail price Australian for this bike, you can now pre-order this bike for $2,899 Australian dollars from the Bikes Online website. And if you're in the US, it's even better. It's just $1,899 USD. So yeah, great price on this bike. So who are Superior Bikes? So you may not have heard of this brand before, but they're actually quite big in Europe. They're a Czech company. They do all their research and development in-house, and they've been based in the foothills of the Czech mountains for the last 30 years. Since 1993, they've been making high-quality bikes. They're quite big in XC mountain bike. They have a professional XC mountain bike team, have competed at the top level in Europe for a while now, and have even won some world championship events. So whilst this company is new to Australia and the US, this is not a new bike company. This is a company that has a long-standing history in making high-quality bikes, including carbon frames, and have the racing pedigree at the top level to back it up. So this is a direct-to-consumer bike. So you order the bike online, and then it gets shipped to your door in this bike box. And then it's a pretty simple matter to open it up and pull the bike out. It's really nicely packaged. A lot of thought's gone into that, and yeah, it arrives in great condition. And then it's pretty simple. Yeah, you just unpack it. All you've got to do is pop the handlebars on, pop the seat post in, and then pop the front wheel on, and then you're pretty much right to go. You will need to provide your own pedals like any other bike, so make sure you've ordered some of those at the time of purchase so that you're ready to get right out on the road. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the components and the spec and the geometry of this bike. So we've got a really nicely integrated front end here. The headset is from Acros, a brand I haven't heard of before, but yeah, it looks like a really neat system, and the cables go nicely into the front of the headset there. It's still sort of semi-integrated, so you should have some flexibility. The bars themselves are quite nice. They're 42 millimeters at the hoods, but 44 at the drops with a 16-degree flare. The reach on them is 70 mils, so yeah, I found them really, really comfortable during my riding. Looking down at the wheel set, we've got a really quality DT Swiss G1800 dedicated aluminium wheel set here. We've got straight pull bladed spokes with 24mm internal rim width and 370 DT Swiss hub. So it's a real quality wheel set here. They were measured at 1895 grams for the set by Off-Road CC in their review. So pretty respectable for an aluminium wheel set. And that wheel set is laced in these Schwalbe G1 all-round tyres, which have a really nice fine tread pattern, which makes them pretty good for mixed terrain riding. Sort of nice and fast with not too much holding you back in terms of rolling resistance. This combination of rim and tyre is tubeless, so the wheels are hooked. The tyres are really easy to set up tubeless. My set came taped and then ready to go with sealant and valves already in. I think if you buy this bike from Bikes Online, you're probably going to have to sort out some tubeless valves and some sealant, but I can definitely recommend doing that. All right, let's moving on to this frame. We've got this beautiful metallic green paint finish on this frame, and we've got some nice down tube protection on the underside of the down tube there, which is pretty good for protect against rock strikes. And then into the group set. So this bike's running a 1x11 Shimano GRX group set. So this is the original GRX, not the updated version that we saw last year. But yeah, it's a really dependable set and one that's sort of tried and proven now for a little while. So it's a 40-tooth chainring on the front and then 11 to 42 cassette on the back. It's a Sunrace cassette and a KMC chain, but the rest of the group set appears to be full Shimano GRX. All right, moving back up the top, we've got a really neat seat post wedge clamp here. Really easy to use and set up. If you are putting the seat post in, just beware not to drop that into the frame. And then we've got some nice sort of quite discreet branding. We've got the X-Road gravel on the top of the top tube there. And then on these beautiful pencil thin seat stays, we've got the Superior branding. So moving on to the saddle, it's got a Sella Royale gravel with quite a shallow cutout there, but yeah, worked fine in my riding. Quite a short nose on the saddle too, which is good for comfort and keeping up with modern design. All right, let's take a closer look at the geometry of this large bike that I have. So it's a stack of 578 and a reach of 392. So that's a pretty low stack for an endurance bike, and it does allow you to get into a relatively aggressive position. I've been running spaces on mine still, and yeah, I think there's a lot of room to go lower. So that's can make for a really fun, aggressive ride still, even though we're looking at an endurance geometry bike here. I think one of the really exciting features of this bike is its chainstay length. So it's only 406 millimeters in the chainstay, and the whole wheelbase is only 1,010 millimeters. So we're talking a really tight bike here, tight in the back end, short wheelbase, and that is what delivers this real road bike-like handling that you get out of this bike. Despite that, we are fitting a 40 millimeter tire in here. So it's really decent gravel tire in what is a really short chainstay. So yeah, this is a really unique sort of geometry and one that's quite exciting.
All right, so we're out on the road on the Superior Comp gravel. And I have to say, this is a really impressive bike. It's, as I said, endurance geometry. I was sort of worried with that road bike-like geometry that it wouldn't handle the gravel very well, but look, I have to say, it's taking everything in its stride. Yeah, it's not the most stable at speed. You've got to be a little bit technical through the, through the rougher sections. But my God, is it a fun one? You get that road bike-like handling, really zippy, tight in the front end, and you sort of get that little bit of underbiking experience, which people, a lot of people really love about gravel riding. So yeah, I think this is a really attractive option. And first impressions are very good.
So while I was out riding the course at the Beechworth Granite Classic, I recorded a few more thoughts about the bike.
Just been taking it nice and easy on the descents. I think this section up here is the most technical of the bunch. All right, here we are. Hectic descent signs up. Let's hope we get to the bottom in one piece. So if this bike can make it through this section, I think it's going to be a bit of a game changer. Because everywhere else, it's really brilliant. Really gives you that road bike-like experience, but if it can make it down this hectic descent, it's a bona fide gravel bike. I'll tell you what, for an all-road bike, this frame, bloody compliant. Like, coming through there, I reckon I'm getting shaken up definitely less than my old alloy bikes, but even some of those titanium bikes I've ridden recently, just vertical compliance is quite astonishing. It's not, I wouldn't say it's the stiffest bike through the bottom bracket. Like, even that Revolt X I rode, probably a bit stiffer, but gosh, this certainly gives you the handling you want from an all-road bike, and the compliance is quite astonishing. Definitely negates the need for any suspension. I don't know if it's a seat post, D-shaped seat post on this bike. Gosh, it does a good job. God, it's been good. I really was umming and ahhing about whether I should ride this bike here today. I had the option of another gravel bike I've got in for test, which is a bit more traditional, much longer in the wheelbase. But I was, really intrigued to see where the limits were of this. And I haven't really, I've probably pushed up against the limits today in sort of a fun underbiking kind of way. Yeah, it's pretty much just a road bike with wide tyres at the end of the day. Yeah, I thought that might be a bit limiting out here, sort of real rural gravel, but the gravel roads around here are pretty good. I'd be a little bit more hesitant sort of in some of the other gnarlier sections or gnarlier places to ride gravel. kind of like a late summer in the Otways. It's going to be, the corrugations there are going to be a bit too much for this one, but yeah, here, stunning. And super comfortable too, like really comfortable. We're 90 Ks in here. Hands are good, feet are good, bum's good. Not much road buzz either. Like on the section of bitumen here, it's just plowing away nicely. So yeah, I'm super impressed with this bike. All right, we're back in Melbourne, back from the Beechworth Granite Classic last week, and yeah, well, we had great weather up there. It's a typical April morning here in Melbourne, pretty chilly, but a beautiful sunrise over the back there, so can't complain too much. All right, so we found out last week this bike handles the gravel surprisingly well for an all-road bike, but I think an all-road bike has to work well in all environments, and that includes the road, bike paths, gravel, a bit of everything. So I brought the bike out here this morning, sort of more urban riding around Melbourne. We're really lucky here in Melbourne. We've got a pretty awesome network of bike paths that sort of traverse the city. Really mixed terrain, a lot of paved ones, but a lot of gravel ones as well. And they're really popular. So there's definitely a big roadie scene where people hit the road, but these bike paths, especially now, early in the morning, before a lot of people get up on a Sunday, it's a great place to go and ride fast. And this is, I think, a great use case for this bike. So I've been out here this morning doing one of my standard sort of loops along the Yarra trails. So yeah, real mix of surfaces, bit of road, bit of climbing, a lot of sort of light gravel, a lot of bike paths. So yeah, this is a route I'm really familiar with, and one I wanted to see how this bike behaves. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's enough to get you out of bed in the morning, I reckon. So in this environment, the bike really shines. Like, you still get that snappy road bike feel. It handles the mix of surfaces. The tyres roll really, really fast. And yeah, this is pretty much, I've been on the lookout for a while for a bike that does this sort of riding really well. I found that a traditional gravel bike just feels long and a bit sluggish doing this, especially when you get on the road, but even on these sort of bike paths. But this one, 406 millimeter chain stays, short wheelbase, 72-degree head angle. It just soaks this up. Really entices you to get out of the saddle, push hard. You don't get that sort of boat-like feeling you get out of a longer gravel bike on the road. But yeah, it still handles the rough surfaces, the imperfections in the pavement, the gravel. It just does it all so well. What a specky morning I've chosen to come out. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the components on this bike. I remain really impressed with this cockpit. I think the integrated cabling system seems to work really well. I haven't tried to adjust anything yet, but it seems like it's not fully integrated. So I think you'll be able to, adjust the stem height fairly straightforwardly. And I think, having a bar stem separated, allows you to fit a cockpit that fits you. But the stock cockpit, I find it really comfortable, great ergonomics. Now, the group set, GRX 1x11. I found it worked really, really well out on the gravel. I love the simplicity of the 1x. Shifting was crisp. Range was definitely enough and a good spread for sort of lighter gravel. Nothing too adventurous, but worked really well out at Beechworth. And, the same experience here in Melbourne. I think a 1x, even for this riding, I just don't see it as an issue. The gaps between the gears at the fast end of the cassette, the gaps are not big. So you still get that cadence modulation, but you don't really notice at the higher end where you are sort of searching for a bailout gear. That just comes quicker. The one thing I would say though, you do notice a little bit on the road descents. You do run out of gears eventually. Like, if you want to go really fast and sort of pedal hard down those hills, the 4011, you're going to max that out relatively quickly. So just be aware of that if that is a concern for you. we're sort of talking, you're getting towards 60 k's an hour before that becomes an issue.
If that top end speed on the road is a concern for you, then I think it's worth looking elsewhere in the range here. So whilst this Team Comp gravel is the only gravel spec of the X-Road that you can currently get for bikes online, you can look at the endurance road spec. So looking at the endurance road spec, we have a number of different options, but I think the pick of the bunch is probably this X-Road Team Elite Di2. So you get a full Shimano 105 Di2 group set, and you also get a real quality DT Swiss wheel set there, where the internal width of those wheels is 22 millimeters. So you can still grab another set of gravel tires up to 40 millimeters, pop them on this bike, and then you've got a really good setup for all road, particularly leaning more towards the road. So you've got the 50-11 top gear there, and you've still got a 34-34 bottom gear, so 1-to-1, which is great for climbing.
I find the shifter ergonomics really nice, like really big bladed brake levers, really easy to grab. The braking is, classic Shimano, really, really strong hydraulic braking. It's, nothing to complain about. The stopping power is awesome on this bike. So I've been running a DT Swiss swivel combination for a little while now. I had that combination on my Canyon Grail gravel bike, and I think the DT Swiss wheels are really good, like really dependable. They just run really smoothly. I've ridden carbon wheels recently. For the price you pay for carbon wheels, especially for a gravel bike where you're not really angling for aerodynamic gains, I find it hard to justify. And I don't think it improves your ride experience that much. So, I don't think there's anything to worry about with these wheels. You're getting a really dependable set, quality, renowned DT Swiss brand. So they're really good in the G1 all-rounds. I was surprised how well they handled the gravel out at Beechworth last week. And they're probably in their more natural environment here. And they're fast. I don't think you're giving up a whole lot compared to a slick road tyre here. So the other thing to say about the G1s is I've been running them for a few years doing this sort of riding, and I just haven't had any issues with them set up tubeless. Really easy to set up tubeless. So this bike came to me set up taped with valves. If you order the bike from Bikes Online, I think the rims are going to come taped. You're going to have to sort out your own valves and sealant. But definitely do it. Tubeless is perfect for this. Just adds that extra layer of comfort and compliance, which is great for this mixed terrain riding. But the G1s and the G1 all-rounds on this, absolutely no issues with punctures or anything. So I'm really impressed with them as a tyre. They handle the mixed surfaces really, really well. Just with that fine tread pattern, I would be a little bit cautious of mud and that sort of thing, but otherwise, great tyre. Now let's talk about this frame. I really, really like this frame for this sort of riding. It's just so comfortable. Those seat stays, they're super thin, D-shaped seat posts. You get a lot of exposed post. It's not, sort of as I said the other day, it's not the stiffest in the bottom bracket, I reckon. Like, pedaling power is great. It's certainly stiff enough, but it's definitely a really compliant frame at the same time, which is what you want for this sort of thing. And it's just an excellent all-road geometry. Like how they've managed to fit a 40mm tyre in with 406mm chain stays just kind of blows my mind. Like 72-degree head angle is nice, it's zippy. It's not long in the wheelbase, so it encourages you to get out and push hard out of the saddle on the road sections. Really, really comfortable and really, really fun. Some odd quirks of spec I think I should probably point out. It comes with 175mm cranks on this size large. It's pretty long given current standards. Like there's definitely a move to shorter cranks. I rode 165s recently and kind of like that. To be honest, I haven't really noticed, but if you like shorter cranks, then there's just something to be aware of. The other thing just to be aware of in terms of the frame, because of that short wheelbase, the short chain stays, those big tyres, you get a little bit of toe overlap. So doing slow speed manoeuvres, yeah, just be conscious of that. But for the type of riding this bike's designed for, like fast gravel, fast road, mixed terrain stuff, it doesn't really come up as an issue. Other potential negatives, like the integrated cabling, I think it looks great. I like that it's sort of semi-done so that you can still adjust your fit pretty easily. But yeah, it might be an issue come servicing. I think that's, yet to see. So just something to be aware of. I know some people prefer external cabling, but I think we have to address the elephant in the room now. This bike is bonkers good value. I said in the introduction there, $3,499. Just checked last night. You can pre-order this bike now. Bikes Online Australia, $2,899. You're not getting another bike with a carbon frame, quality components. You're just not finding that. Like, it's phenomenal. And if you're in the US, it's $1,899, so under $2,000 US. So yeah, it's I think that is the real selling point. You know, I would buy this bike if it was $3,000, $4,000, maybe even $5,000, but the fact you can get it for less, it's just an added bonus.
And that value proposition just looks even better when you look at the competition for this bike. Like if you're in the market for an all-road bike, I think you're looking at a Giant Defy, perhaps with wide tyres, maybe a Specialized Roubaix SL8, maybe a Canyon Endurace. If you're really cashed up and looking for something really flash, you've got the new NV Frey or the BMC Road Machine. But if you're in the market for sort of a value proposition, then I think you're really probably only looking at that Giant or maybe the Canyon. So the Canyon maxes out at a 35mm tyre, which is probably not going to be enough to do the sort of gravel that I did out at Beechworth last week. And then the Giant Defy, it's rated at a max of a 38mm. Some dealers are sort of thinking that you'd be struggling to get a knobbly 38 in there. This bike undercuts both of those on price and allows you to get a bit more tyre in there for a bit more capability and allow you to get a true all-road bike that will really tackle some gravel. But even if price is not your deciding factor and you're just looking for the best handling all-road bike, I think this one still has something to offer, because if you look at the geometry charts, and I've compared all of these bikes on geometrygeeks.bike, and you see a bike here in the Superior X-Road that offers some of the most impressive road bike-like stats whilst giving you a really good tyre at the same time. So we've got one of the shortest wheelbases. Well, it's the same as the Giant Defy and the BMC. If we look at chainstay length, we've got the shortest chainstay length out of the group and significantly shorter at 14mm shorter than both the Specialized and the Defy, and 9mm shorter than the Frey and the BMC. So that really explains where this real snappy feeling, great handling, really responsive ride is coming from. So yeah, really impressed with the geometry that they've put together for this bike while still allowing a 40mm tyre inside this frame.
So the guys at Bikes Online sent me this bike for a review. I've got it for a few months. To be honest, they're going to have a really hard time getting it back off me. This is the sort of bike I've been looking for a long time. Like the bike that can do this mixed terrain riding, feel fast, feel agile, give you that road bike experience, but allow you to tackle a little bit of everything. And yeah, I've been on a journey to find this bike, and I think this is the one. Also coming at a time where, interest rates are high, people don't have a lot of cash. I've got young kids. The idea of spending $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 on a bike, it's just not happening. So to get all of this capability, all of this quality at a price that is affordable and attainable, I'm really, really impressed. And yeah, I think pending a discussion with the missus, I think this bike is going to be one we're going to keep in the stable. I do not want to give it back.
So there you have it. That's our review of the Superior X-Road Team Comp Gravel. Look, I think it's pretty clear I really love this bike, and I think you will too. So if you liked what you heard, then pop down to that link in the description, check out the bike, and get in line and make your pre-order. And we'll have this bike for a little while and hoping to get out a longer term review in a few months. But in the meantime, if you're keen to check out the video, then please, head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and stay tuned for that one. I would really appreciate people dropping a review on their podcast app of choice as well, whether that be Apple or Spotify. You can pop in and review the show there, and if you leave a written review, that'll help more people find us as well. Let me know what you think about these bike reviews too. I'm keen to know whether this is content that you want as an audience. To get in touch, let me know what you think. As always, you can follow us on Instagram at the Gravel Cycling Oz Podcast, or send us an email at thegravelcyclingpodcast@gmail.com. All right, so next up we'll be revisiting the Beechworth Granite Classic. I had a great day out there and spoke to some great people and recorded some of that chat and that conversation. So I'll cut that together and get that to you shortly. Trekkie's also just taken out the Big 7 gravel race over in WA today, so I think I'll have to definitely follow up and get him on the pod. I've had a few chats with him and just been trying to tee up a time, but I think now is going to be the time to get him on and chat, because he's been over at Sea Otter. He's come back and won 7, and he'll be heading back over to the States for the rest of the Lifetime Grand Prix soon. So I'm keen to catch up with him and get him on and hear what he has to say about Australia's gravel cycling scene and what it's like taking on the world's best. Thanks to Bikes Online for sending us the bike, and until next time, thanks for joining us on the Gravel Cycling Australia podcast.